My name's Agatha. I'm 50-something, married to a man with a beer belly, got a son who calls twice a month, and a cat who clearly thinks she owns the place. I live quiet. No drama, no fireworks. Dinner goes on the stove at 6:01 sharp, because 6 o'clock is for control freaks and 6:05 is just disrespectful. Everything else? Normal life. Until one day it wasn't. It all started with the damn cat. Mila saw a squirrel and bolted over the fence straight into the yard of those weird new neighbors. The ones who never waved, never spoke, and kept their windows blacked out. I went looking for her. But instead of a cat, I found my sister, Lena, the sister we buried 20 years ago. Funeral, closed casket, family photos, grief so thick you could choke on it. And there she was, sitting on some stranger's couch, wrapped in a filthy blanket, looking at me like I'd just dropped by for coffee. She said, "I'm sorry." Sorry? For what? 20 years of silence. For watching our mother die thinking her youngest daughter burned to death on a bus? I wanted to scream, walk away, slap her across the face. But instead, I sat down. Because sisters, they're not about reason. They're about the scars that never really heal. And if you think things got clearer after that? Oh honey, that's when it all really started. Because someone had followed her. And what followed her wasn't finished. So sit down. Buckle up. This isn't a story about forgiveness. It's a story about the truth. And the truth never shows up quietly. Chapter 1. They followed the cat and found a door that they should never have opened. No one was prepared for what the strange house concealed. At first, everything seemed almost charming. Almost. "Mila, where are you?" Agatha called out, leaning out from the porch. In the background was a bald front yard, a peeling bench, and her husband Frank fiddling with the wiring of the lawnmower, which, judging by its appearance, he had been trying to fix for 3 years. Mila, a fluffy creature with the temperament of a pit bull, ran off after a squirrel. And the squirrel ran over the fence to the neighbors. Unusual neighbors. The ones who had moved in a couple of months ago, buying the house from Mrs. Harris, who was always baking stinky pumpkin muffins and yelling at the children for breathing under her window. "Honey, leave the cat alone. We'll find it," Frank grumbled, not taking his eyes off the nut he was arguing with more than his own wife. "That cat is worth more than your truck," Agatha snapped. "And unlike you, it has character." She walked around the fence. The house was strangely quiet, as if no one lived there. Although she had clearly seen a light in the window at night. And a shadow. Tall. Female. Behind the house was a broken-up plot of land, littered with trash. The cat was gone somewhere there. Agatha pushed the back gate and raised her eyebrows in surprise. The lock was broken. Had someone broken in? Or had they forgotten to lock it? "Mila," she called again. "Come on, get out, or I'll call Frank and he'll whine for 3 days. The cat didn't respond. Agatha went inside. The grass crunched under her feet, as if no one had walked here in a long time. The windows were covered with paper. The door to the porch was ajar. Cold air flowed from inside, smelling of dampness, tobacco, and something metallic. She stepped inside. "Mila, don't joke like that," she exhaled, peering into the semi-darkness. And then she heard a voice. A woman's voice. Hoarse. "Agatha." Her head spun. She knew that voice. She knew it to the point of trembling. He should have died 20 years ago. She turned around and saw her, sitting on an old sofa, surrounded by junk and dust. Lena, her younger sister, the one who had disappeared, buried, burned in a bus in 2002. At least that's what the police report said. You. Agatha couldn't finish. The words fell apart. "I'm sorry," Lena said, and she looked as if it were all normal. As if 20 years of disappearance were just an oops, it happens to everyone. Agatha leaned against the wall. Her heart was pounding. There was a lump in her throat. "Who the hell are you?" she barked. A ghost? A joke? What's going on? Lena was silent. Only tears ran down her cheeks. Real ones. Salty ones. Alive ones. Agatha didn't notice Frank approaching. Where have you been? He began. Then he saw her. Holy shit. Is that Lena? Yes, she said. It's me. And then for the first time in 20 years, Agatha regretted ever going to look for that cat. End of chapter 1. What happened next changed everything. You won't want to miss how it unfolds. Chapter 2. She came back from the dead. And then she started acting as if nothing had happened. But if you've been hiding for 20 years, it means you have something to run from. Agatha was silent for a long time. She wasn't usually the silent type. She usually had a response for every situation, sharp, caustic, sometimes with a hint of old brandy, even if there was tea in her glass. But now, her sister sat on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket with an owl pattern. The kind they used to sell in cheap corner stores that always smelled of chicken and rotten batteries. Lena, Agatha finally managed to say. You died. You died on the bus. We had a damn coffin. Earth. Flowers. Cried like an idiot. Remember? And where were you? Where the hell were you at that time? Frank was silent. He rarely intervened. His style was to watch from the corner while everyone else burned. And only then come with a hose that had no water in it. Lena lowered her eyes. She looked bad, like someone who had slept in a basement with cockroaches in fear. I wasn't on the bus, she said. I changed my mind at the last minute. What about calling? Telling us, your parents, that you changed your mind? Or did you think it would be romantic to see your mother put your doll on the coffin? I was afraid. If I had gone back, he would have found me. There was a heavy pause in the room. Who? Agatha asked, and at that moment she felt something inside her grow cold for the first time. Not out of anger. Out of fear. Lena swallowed. My boyfriend. Well, he seemed like a prince to me then. And then he turned into a monster. And then everything changed. Something clicked in Agatha. This was no longer just a family drama. It was a case, dirty, complicated, almost criminal. She sat down next to her. Her hands clenched. Did he hit you? Yes. First when I didn't have time to make tea. Then when I answered back. Then just because. I tried to leave. He threatened me. I didn't know how. And you decided to disappear? Just like that. Lena looked away. I set his trailer on fire. I thought he was inside. And then, I ran away. I bought someone else's documents. You killed a man? Frank was surprised. That's something to note. First you came back to life, and now you're a criminal. Agatha gave her husband a look that would kill a dog. Shut up, Frank. Shut up. Frank shrugged. Fine. It's a woman's business, family ghosts. He's not getting involved. Lena slowly laid out some photographs in front of them. An old apartment. A cheap motel. A man's face. His name was Vic. He had a past, prison, drugs, beatings. I thought I could change him. Yes, I was a stupid girl. And then I became a prisoner. Agatha didn't know whether to cry or laugh. What about Mom? Dad? Us? I watched you from afar. Several times. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. And then, Mom died. Dad fell ill. I was afraid that everything would collapse. I wasn't ready. You buried us before our time, Lena. And now what? Surprise. I'm alive, save me from my ex-maniac. Lena nodded silently. I'm afraid he'll find me again. He survived, Agatha. And then for the first time, Agatha didn't know what was scarier. The ghost of her sister sitting on her old sofa, or the ghost of the one she ran away from. End of chapter 2. This is the climax. Everything you've been waiting for is right here. Stay to see how the hero puts everyone in their place. Chapter 3. She ran away from him 20 years ago. But monsters don't die. They wait until you let your guard down. Now the past was standing at the doorstep, and it was hungry. The night was quiet and warm, but no one was sleeping in Agatha's house. Lena sat by the window, wrapped in a blanket like armor. Frank was snoring in the living room because Agatha had kicked him out. She said there should be a men's waiting area until her sister was done. He didn't even argue. Agatha drank tea as strong as her character and mentally ran through all the possible scenarios. If he's alive. Where is he? If she's right. Then he might show up. But what if not? What if she made it all up? Or worse, what if she's hiding something? Are you sure he's alive? She finally asked. He wrote to me. Recently. He found me through an old social media account. He said, "The time has come." And what did you do? Did you send a smiley face? Or did you like it? Lena shuddered. I didn't reply. Agatha paced around the room. Do you have any proof that he's a threat? Or did you just come back to us like a schoolgirl at Christmas dinner? And now you want us to play Save the Lost Soul? Lena faltered. He knows where I am. Agatha froze. She looked at her sister. Deeply. Has he been here before? Lena looked away. This afternoon. When you went after Frank. I heard him scratching at the back door. I didn't open it. But I know those sounds. He always scratched like that. He knew I would understand. Agatha grabbed the phone. We're calling the police. And what am I going to tell them? That a dead guy came back for me? I don't have any papers. No evidence. Just scars. And scars, dear, are also evidence. Just not the kind they want to see. Lena smiled. A tired, broken smile. You've always been able to talk as if you had the world by the throat. Because I do. Or at least I try to. She sat down next to her. She stared at Lena's hands for a long time. Listen, if you're lying, I'll know. Sooner or later. And don't be offended if the consequences are like in a bad movie. But if you're telling the truth, we won't give him a chance. At that moment, something clicked outside. Agatha jumped up. Frank, oddly enough, also woke up. He can smell when real drama is about to unfold in the house. What's that? He asked, getting up from the sofa. Agatha had already gone to the door. Don't open it, Lena whispered. If it's him, he won't go away. He's waiting for me to come out. What if it's just teenagers with TikTok? Frank muttered, coming up behind her. The click repeated itself. Then a creak. Then silence. Chilling silence. Agatha opened the curtain slightly. There was a box on the porch. There was no name on it. Only letters cut out of a magazine. Did you think I would forget? Frank held up the flashlight. What's in there? Agatha opened it. Inside was an old doll. Torn. Missing an eye. The same one Lena had carried around as a child until it disappeared along with its owner. Lena burst into tears. Frank cursed. Agatha closed the box. It means one thing, she said. What? Lena whispered. We're not playing hide and seek anymore. Now we're hunters. End of chapter 3. You think you understand everything? Ha! Believe me, what happens next is not what you expected. Don't miss it. Chapter 4. If you spend your whole life hiding from a monster, one day the monster will come to remind you who you really are. And sometimes it turns out that you yourself are not so innocent after all. The next morning, Agatha woke up to her alarm clock as always at 6:01 a.m. Because 6 a.m. is too obvious, and 6:05 a.m. is already lost time. She didn't like change. Especially the kind where resurrected relatives spend the night in her living room and former criminals leave gifts on her porch. Today we're going to the police, she said, placing a cup of coffee in front of Lena. And what am I supposed to say? Lena looked like someone who had run out of not only cigarettes but also hope. Hello, I was presumed dead. But in fact I just ran away after the arson, and now that guy is back? That's not a statement, it's a Netflix plot. But it's exciting, Frank muttered, chewing on toast. Haven't they offered you a TV series yet? Agatha narrowed her eyes. He's joking, Lena interjected. In his own way. When I was a child, my mother used to say that his sense of humor was like a screwdriver. It pricks, but it doesn't help. God rest her soul, Frank muttered. Agatha stood up. We need a plan. If the police won't take it on, we'll find a way. I'm not going to wait until he burns down our house or starts writing on the walls with blood. I have new curtains, by the way. Frank sat down at his laptop. I did a little Googling. Victor Langston. 3 convictions. The last one was for aggravated assault. He was released early 5 years ago. Since then, nothing. But he clicked the mouse and expanded the screen. Here. A man with a similar appearance worked in a warehouse 2 hours from here. He disappeared a month ago. Cameras caught him leaving in a black jacket and never returning. No one reported him missing. Lena turned pale. It's him. He had a jacket like that. I remember those eyes. So he's already nearby, Agatha said. The question is, what does he want? Me, Lena whispered. Or something else, Frank interjected. You didn't just disappear. You set his trailer on fire. Are you sure there wasn't anything valuable in there? Lena paused. There was a safe, but I didn't open it. I was scared. What if he thinks you opened it? Agatha raised her eyebrows. Then he's not here for nostalgia. Frank clicked on the keyboard again. I found a news article. A fire. Dated the day you disappeared. No victims were found, so they thought you were on the bus. Agatha folded her arms across her chest. Now that's interesting. So he thinks you stole something important from him. And you're convinced you were just saving yourself. One of you is definitely lying. I'm not lying, Lena said sharply. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he's back. And we have to stay one step ahead of him. Frank sighed. I'll be honest. We don't stand a chance in a fair fight. If he's crazy, we have to act crazy too. Agatha nodded. So we'll lure him out. Lena turned pale. Are you crazy? Exactly. Otherwise, we'll all be swept away like another trailer in a storm. And I'm not ready for my house to end up in the crime reports with the headline 3 idiots went after a dead man. And how are you going to lure him out? Lena asked. Agatha smiled. Through social media. You're dead. But suddenly, you're alive again. You post something. About yourself. A photo. And a couple of hints. He won't be able to resist. Trust me. Maniacs don't like being forgotten. Lena looked at her sister as if she were seeing her for the first time. You've always been crazy. But now, you're damn right. Frank stood up. I'm going to go buy a camera and a couple of traps. I've watched Home Alone enough times, now it'll come in handy. Agatha opened her laptop. Let the game begin. End of chapter 4. She took the first step. But the real hunt is just beginning. Don't miss it. Chapter 5. They thought they were ready to face the past. But the past turned out to be different from how they remembered it. That night, illusions would disappear. And so would some people. Lena's photo, posted under a new name, got 8 views in the first 3 minutes. One of them was from him. Agatha knew it. How can you be sure? Lena asked, clutching her cup. Because 7 minutes later, an email arrived. No text. Just a photo you as a child on the beach. The one that was in my mother's box. Only, someone had drawn a noose on it. Frank looked at both of them. He's playing games. Agatha nodded. So it's time for us to play too. Frank set up the cameras. One in the entrance. One at the back door. The third directly opposite the kitchen window because, as he said, if there's going to be any drama, it'll be at the fridge. That was his sense of humor. Lena tried to smile. It turned out worse than a cat having convulsions. Agatha sat with a notebook. She always did that when the situation got out of control. She started writing. So he came back because he thinks Lena stole something. Or, she looked at her sister. He just couldn't forget. You mean it's personal? With people like that, it's always personal. Maniacs don't take revenge on strangers. Only on those they once loved. Stop it, said Lena. He didn't love her. He possessed her. It's not the same thing. Frank turned on the monitor. There's movement. The camera on the porch. Someone's coming. Everyone held their breath. A silhouette appeared on the screen. Tall. A hat. His back was straight like a doll in a shop window. He wasn't walking, he was floating. He knew exactly where he was going. Frank grabbed a bat. Agatha grabbed her phone. Lena just stood up. I'm going out, she said. Are you crazy? They both exclaimed. No. I'm tired of being afraid. She opened the door. He was standing 5 meters away. It was him. Vic. Only older. Dirtier. And with eyes like empty dolls. You're back, he said. I never came back. I just stopped running. Where is it? What? The safe. Agatha followed her out. You didn't get my sister then. And you won't get her now. He laughed. Dryly. Who are you, witch? The one who won't give you a chance. Frank was the last to leave. Everything is being recorded, buddy. So if you want to confess, now is the best time. Vic didn't respond. I was looking for her. Because I need to get back what's mine. Nothing here is yours, Lena said. Then, he took a gun out of his pocket. It was small, but it had enough bullets. I'll take something else. Agatha didn't lose her composure. She pulled a stun gun from behind her back. A surprise from the toolbox. Vic staggered but managed to fire. The bullet hit the wall. Lena fell. Not from the wound, from shock. Frank pounced on him like a pit bull. Agatha shouted something about the police. The cameras recorded every moment. When the cops arrived, Vic was already lying there, bound with duct tape, and on his forehead was a note. He came for death. He got shame. Lena was taken away in an ambulance. Agatha sat down on the steps. Well, Agatha? Frank asked, sitting down next to her. The end. No, she said. This is just the beginning. We buried one lie. Now we have to dig up the rest. Frank sighed. I was hoping that after 50 life would become calmer. Agatha smiled. You're confusing that with a funeral. End of chapter 5. But if you think it's over, wait. Because the finale won't be about Vic. It will be about what Lena still hasn't told us. Chapter 6. He's been arrested. The threat is gone. But why does it still hurt? Sometimes the scariest thing isn't the one who comes back, but what you've been hiding even from yourself. A week had passed. Lena was lying in her hospital room, her arm hooked up to and for, her eyes fixed on the ceiling. Agatha sat by the window, leafing through an old family album. Frank brought her a sandwich which she ignored, as she had all the previous ones. Is she eating? He whispered. She's just silent, Agatha replied. Lena lay in a white gown like a soaked conscience. You're safe, Agatha said. Vic is under arrest. He has 3 other cases pending. They won't let him go. Lena nodded. Then she slowly turned around. Agatha, can I tell you something? Just don't interrupt me. Agatha sat closer. I didn't leave just because he was a monster. I left because I was pregnant at the time, with his child, and I didn't want that child to know who his father was. Silence. So thick that even her heart skipped a beat. I gave birth. In a small clinic in Iowa. I left the baby in an orphanage. Under a false name. I thought it was the right thing to do. Better. But now, I don't know. Agatha looked at her sister as if she were a woman who had just been taken out of a Stephen King novel and thrown into real life. A mixture of pity, anger, and something resembling understanding, but in an uncomfortable form. "Do you want to find him?" she finally asked. Lena shook her head. "I want him not to look for me. I want him to live his life and never find out who I am. Because if he ever finds out, he'll be another person I have to explain to why I ran away. And I'm tired of explaining." Agatha squeezed her hand. "I won't tell you that you did the right thing. But I will say this. You are not alone now. If he ever shows up, we'll tell him that you were young, broken, and did what you could." Lena began to cry. But this time it was quiet. Not like a victim, but like a person who had finally allowed herself to be alive. "Did your mother know?" Agatha asked suddenly. Lena nodded. "I called her once. I didn't say who I was, but she recognized my voice. She cried. Then she said only one thing. 'Take care of yourself, Lena. We all do stupid things to survive.'" Agatha stood up. "Then here's what we'll do. We'll go home. You'll stay with us. Not as a guest. As a sister. Frank always complains that it's too quiet here. Let's see what he says when you eat his chips." Lena laughed through her tears. "Do you really still eat his chips?" "No, I hide them." "But he doesn't know." Frank walked in as if on cue. "Well? Peace, friendship, gum. You can chew the chips if you leave at least one bag," Lena said. He winked. "Welcome home. Just a warning. Everything is the same here. Agatha is in charge, I agree with her. If that suits you, stay." Lena looked at her sister. Then she looked out the window. And for the first time in 20 years she simply nodded. Final. Sometimes home isn't a place. It's the people who have endured the worst and the scariest things with you, and didn't run away.